What's happening, guys? Chris Eubank Jr. has been hospitalized. For what reason, we do not know. All I know is, and I've got the same information as you guys, he posted to his Instagram. I believe it was yesterday. I'll get the post up in a second. And he was in hospital being treated. He had a little caption that I will read out in a second. Let me just get the post up. I genuinely wonder if this has anything to do with the back-to-back weight cuts, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's get this post up. So as you guys can see here, he's in hospital. The little screen that's recording looks as if one of the doctors has a camera on him and is recording whatever tests or procedure that they're taking on Chris Eubank Jr. I'll read the caption quickly. It says, I've been dealing with a lot of health issues over the last year, and yeah, it's all finally caught up to me last month. I will not box again until I am back to 100%, and I don't know when that will be. But one thing's for certain, for the fans that have supported me through thick and thin, I will do everything in my power to make sure that one day the old me makes a big comeback. And guys, oh, look, a couple of UFC fighters commented on the post. That's what we like to see. Combat sports sticking together, different martial arts showing love to each other, because usually we have this back and forth with boxing. But anyway, let's continue with Chris Eubank Jr. stuff. I genuinely wonder if this has anything to do with the back-to-back weight cut. Because obviously he's had to cut a lot of weight back to back in the last year, and he's had to, deal with the rehydration restrictions. And honestly, guys, we'll know more in the future what exactly he is dealing with, but I have a suspicion that it is to do with the back-to-back weight cutting and not being able to rehydrate fully. Because you got to remember, essentially, going into those two fights, he was not 100%. As much as people, pundits, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom Boxing lick asses, they can make it seem as if Chris Eubank Jr. was 100%. All they want. But anyone that understands, you don't even have to have super knowledge when it comes to the human body. You can have basic understanding, and you will know that there was no way Chris Eubank Jr. could have been 100% in those two fights. For the simple fact, he had to cut weight and he wasn't allowed to rehydrate past a certain limit. That logic alone, logically, you should be able to use your brain and know that, yeah, that guy can't be 100%. Because essentially you can't feel your body properly, because if you do, you will go over the restriction. Part of that, he has to take accountability on that because he signed the contract at the end of the day. But you see his dad, shout out to senior Chris Eubank Senior, because he foreshadowed all of this. He is someone that was in boxing for years. He's been involved in boxing from very young. So he knows the sport better than his own son. That's the truth. As much as people won't want to admit that, he knows the game better than his son. And that fight between him and Ben was literally made to build Conor Ben up and to re-spark the rivalry that the two dads had, even though they had no business fighting each other. They are two different weight classes. Anyone that understands this and can use their logical mind would know if Chris Eubank Jr. was allowed to rehydrate properly, it would have been a mismatch. Chris Eubank Jr. would have had a lot of size compared to Conor Ben. He would have had the size advantage, 100%, 100 million percent. And it's sad to see. I genuinely think it's the back-to-back weight cutting and having those two fights. The first one was quite brutal. He looked very drained after the fight. Look how his head ballooned up. And then only a couple of months later, you do the whole weight cut again. You have a fight again. And this time you end up in hospital. We saw from the first round in the rematch, Chris Eubank Jr. didn't look himself. So he was clearly dealing with something from before. I don't know whether it was before the first fight or what. But I give Chris Eubank Jr. the props and I take my hats off to him because he well and truly is a warrior. He's willing to go out on his shield. He still went into that fight not being 100%. And I know some people are going to say, oh, how convenient it comes out after his fight. No. Listen, fighters are a different breed, man. You're not going to tell the world that you're not. Most people won't pull out of a fight if they can fight through the injury. Most people won't pull out of the fight, even if it could hinder them, just because they have that warrior spirit. I just hope Chris Eubank Jr. gets well soon. Let me actually quickly see if I can find any other information about what the actual issue is. And wow. Okay. I mean, clearly it's something he's been dealing with. Oh, wow. Fans are calling for him to retire, apparently. But yeah, the footage doesn't look very good. There's not really much I can find on this actual situation. But the footage doesn't look good, if I'm completely honest. I just wish him a speedy recovery. And hopefully it's not anything too serious because he's got to be fair, guys. To be fair. You know, in the press conference after the fight, he did say he didn't want to discuss what was going on, but clearly there was some issues because he didn't go too much into detail, but he gave us a little hint that he's been dealing with some stuff. People automatically thought it was the twins because, as you know, he is expecting twins. Honestly, we wish Chris Eubank Jr. a speedy recovery. I'm a big fan of him and his dad. I was disappointed to see him lose against Conor Ben, but listen, I will never come on this channel and be biased. I will never, even if I like a fighter, I will never come on here and, you know, just glamorize them and lick arse. Conor Ben won that rematch fair and square, but Chris Eubank Jr. did not look 100%. He didn't look good enough to even be in that ring on the night from when the bell went in round 1. And that's what I observed with my eyes. So, you know, with what his family's been through, the passing of his brother, leaving behind the son, and, you know, Junior does play a very big active role in his nephew's life. So we hope and wish Chris Eubank Jr. a speedy recovery so that he can return to his duties of attending to his nephew, and also so that going forward he can be as healthy as possible for his twins that he is expecting. Shame, I was not, honestly, when I saw the news, I was not expecting to see that, but clearly it is something to do. I feel like it's something caused by boxing, and it's a shame because Senior was screaming all of this. Senior was actually against this fight happening, and he kept telling you guys. He kept telling everybody. And you know the crazy thing is, we've done a full circle, and now Senior has been proven right, unfortunately. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. We wish Chris Eubank Jr. a speedy recovery. Please, guys, like and subscribe. One of my most recent videos, I urged you guys to hit that subscribe button because I'm trying to grow to be honest, we're only at 200 subscribers. I'm trying to get it to 250 or 300 by the end of the year. I know we have about 27 days or so left of the year, but we're going to keep pumping the content. Don't worry, over Christmas, I got you guys. I'm going to be making some interesting content for that specific period to keep you guys engaged. And I know it might be a bit boring around that time. You know, people will be off from work and have a lot of time on their hands. So please hit that subscribe button. But like and subscribe, guys. Comment below. I'll be back again tomorrow as usual. It's Big Yems, guys, man. Like and subscribe. Otherwise, I'm coming to your house. And don't worry what I will do. But just don't, if you don't subscribe and you're watching, don't slack. I beg, don't lack.